Hey, well, this being Willie come back with a quick live video. Um, didn't really put any advance notice out there, but I just wanted to come back and do a video about the tax cut. Hold up, guys. Let me pick something up right quick. Sorry about that. Like I said, family, if you watch see the title? The title is Trump's 2018 tax cut, and who did it help the most? And first of all, family, let's just try to understand, because, if you're not really understanding what they be meaning by a tax cut and the percentages and all that kind of stuff, is you really got to increase their financial literacy, because it can make a big difference on the decisions you make, okay? Let's look at the tax cut. When Trump did the tax cut, it actually lowered corporations' tax rate by 48%, okay? Now, it lowered workers' tax rate by 4%. Okay. Now, right there, you see the big discrepancies. Corporations, 48%, workers, 4%, okay? Now, of course, you say, well, why did they not, why did they lower the corporate tax rate so much? Why didn't they just, lower the middle class tax rate, right? But because those that are rich and the corporations pay more in taxes, all right? But let's see how the Trump tax cut actually helped the corporations, okay? DG, what's up? Minnesota in the house. XOs, I see you. Nephew, KY, I see you, all right? Yeah, family, let's check this out right quick. The tax cut, let me repeat, corporations got a 48% cut, okay? Workers got a 4% cut. Now, you may say, well, how does that affect us? Well, it affects us by, it doesn't increase the GDP. And what's GDP? That's gross domestic product, okay? That's all the goods and services that the United States produce in a year. Or they take quarterly reports too on GDP. So there's 4 quarters in the year, and so they take the reports on the GDP each quarter. Well, you would think that if the corporations get a 48% tax cut, because right now the corporate rate is 21%, and that's a 48% tax cut, right? You would think, well, that means they're gonna be getting a lot of money back, and who's going to benefit from that? Well, the people would have benefited from it if the corporations would have used the money they got from that tax cut to reinvest it back into the company, to give workers raises, not just CEOs, but workers raises. Instead of like GM and a couple of these companies, instead of taking your company overseas, because you remember, guys, GM went overseas, Toys R Us went bankrupt. There are a lot of companies that are overseas. And these companies, which are mega cap companies, and what I mean by mega cap, family, these are the big dogs, the Dow Jones companies, the top 30s, okay? And so when they take their companies overseas, that doesn't do anything for our GDP. In actuality, it lowers our GDP, right? And so when people talk about, we have the lowest unemployment in a long time, and they're going to raise minimum wage to $15 an hour. Okay, but that doesn't do any good if the company is overseas, and so the GDP still stays low. And see, the GDP is the actual report card of how your economy is doing. All right, and so what did these big companies do? They bought $806 billion worth of stock buybacks. Okay, now who does that benefit? Well, the shareholders. And that's why I say pay yourself first, because these big companies, they ain't talking about you. They're just going to the store. Apple going or AT&T or Google, Amazon. No, Amazon wants you to put your credit card information in, and we'll be having your stuff at your crib pretty soon. That's what Amazon wants you to do. Amazon trades at over $1,000 a share. Okay, and so when Amazon and Apple and Google, and Tesla, okay, and Facebook, okay, and these companies, what they call them, FANG, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. Those are the big dogs. Those are the top 5. And just imagine when those companies fold, right? The whole economy is going to pretty much fold. And if you ask how that's going to, how do I see that happening? Well, I'm not Nostradamus, but I see the technical indicators. Okay, there's an inverted curve. What is the inverted curve? Family, I told you, don't stay on top of that Bloomberg. Okay, the two-year U.S. Treasury note right now is at 2.4%, 2.04. The 5-year is, no, I'm sorry, the 2-year is 2.08, and the 5-year is 2.04. The 5-year is lower than the 2-year. Okay, and you may ask, what does that mean? If I give you $100, right? Or you give me $100 and I give you $5 in 1 year, right? And then the next year you give me $100, and in 10 years I give you $2. Then, well, you're not gonna want to invest in a bond in 5 years if I'm only gonna give you $2. You're gonna invest in a bond in 2 years where I'm gonna give you $5. See, that's inverted. That's and so that's really indicative of how things can crash the market or how the financials can be messed up. Okay, and that happens with the Federal Reserve doing that. Okay, but I digress. Yeah, the retail crisis is real. There's no doubt. The unemployment rates, of course. I mean, how can you have an unemployment rate that's the lowest of all time when there's been over 6,000 or 7,000 retail stores closed? They close in the malls. Okay, everything is either bought at Walmart, Amazon, online, and so those are jobs. You did. Ford just let go 7,000 white collar workers. Remember, you watched the last video. Okay, and remember, Ford is one of the big dogs as well. And so I say all of this, family, okay, to say this: if the companies are buying back $806 billion of their own stock, what do you think that does to their share prices? And so if you got stock in these companies at $15, and then here they are buying back $800 billion of their own stock, then the price of the stock gonna go up. See, that tells you right there that it is a bubble. Trump told us this a long time ago. So when Trump did the tax cut for the corporations, it wasn't to increase the stock market or to have this economy be best, because it's all smoke. It's all false mirrors. The smoking mirrors, rather. Okay, I mean, it makes sense, don't it? If I own a company and I buy $100 million worth of shares of my own company, what is that going to do to my stock price? And so, as shareholders of my company, what y'all gonna be? Y'all gonna be happy as hell. Y'all gonna be like, man, and then y'all gonna get your capital gain. But see, smart people gonna not be greedy, and they're gonna be like, wait a minute, this stock done rose like this. Let me go ahead and cash out and get my change, right? Protect my principal, because this volatility is happening for a reason. You did? So that's why I want to come back, family, and let you know that shareholders have precedent over workers, okay? Over anything. The shareholders have precedent. That's why it's important that you pay yourself first and get ready for this crisis to happen, and get some. And it's going to be some pretty good bargains out there, because remember, the shareholders are the one that's going to be coming out pretty in the end. The ones that's only buying from Amazon, the ones that's only buying the Apple phone, okay? God's gonna be coming up short, okay? Like I say, when 40% of America, okay, can't afford a $400 emergency, that's some problems right there, okay? And so that tells you right there, when they cut that Trump tax cut, it was only for the corporations, okay? And what did the corporation do? They paid themselves first, duh, like I always say, because remember, look at the CEOs. All right, the Ford CEO made $18 million last year, but they finna let go 7,000 white collar workers. You did? Okay. because those 7,000 cargo workers that are going to be released is going to give Ford more money to invest in this company, to go overseas like they're doing, to put more money and technology into the electric vehicles for this new era to come into play. All right. So, like I say, the workers, you got a 4%, decrease in your tax rate. I mean, 4%, but the corporation got 48%. And what's so crazy about that? What happened to your tax refund this year? It was lower by 18%. You did? So we can't depend on that, family. We have to start making sure that you start putting yourself in a different situation financially through preparation. Okay, and that preparation starts with by paying yourself first and getting this financial information, paying attention to the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. All right, right now, guys, the Dow Jones dropped like over 300 points today. What? You did? Because see, those same billions of dollars of shares that those corporations bought, they also sold. So if you got a CEO got 50 million shares of stock in the company, he'll go sell 20 million and make him 80 million, and then the price drop down, right? And then people get happy and they start buying stock, but it's not the right time. Okay. Man, Minnesota in the house. This year, I don't know. Nothing's going to happen until Trump is reelected. Okay, nothing's going to happen until Trump is reelected, and then and like I said, I'm not Nostradamus, but if you just look at the signals and look at the indications, Iran conflict in Iran, Bolton, Trump's main man to go overseas and talk to these cats, he was saying that Iran may have bombed one of the U.S. ships, which is bogus, right? I watched BBC the other day. Iran totally denied that claim. So it's important that you step outside your box and don't just watch the real actors over here. Watch the real actors overseas too, because they're gonna tell you the truth. It's gonna be mixed with lies, but it's better than listen to these fake actors on TV telling you to buy everything. Okay? Don't worry about the fake actors. That's Hollywood. That's celebrities. They can't teach you nothing. Okay? So, we know the stock market is a Ponzi scheme. It's a big Ponzi scheme. But my point is this: what else out there that's going to give you 9%, 12, 13% or something, and then get all the way up to 16% during some quarters of the year? You're not going to get there nowhere else. Okay? And so it's a reason why these corporations get the type of considerations and bailouts. Remember, every president in the last 15 years have bailed out the corporations, from Obama to Bush, right? And Trump, and this is one of those low-key bailouts that Trump did with the tax cut by telling you that he's gonna put an extra couple of $1,000s in American pockets. What, to spend? You did? And great. XO, that's you right. Amazon paid only $0 in taxes this year, and I think they made like $30-some billion. Yeah. China buying up American farmlands. You gotta realize, not only farmlands, nephew, all the currency. Remember, the largest holder in U.S. debt is China. Okay, and Huawei is totally dependent on, not totally dependent, but the United States is pretty much dependent on Huawei to sell all this software and all these chips. China like, okay, we'll just sell it. We'll buy it from somewhere else. See, that's the game. Don't fall for it. These guys are all in cahoots. Watch how Trump and Ying shake hands. If you know anything about Mason, come on. All right? They're all in this together. It's a global connection. Remember, it's a small percentage of these people making these decisions. This is not group effort. This is a small decision. This is a small group of people making big decisions that affect the masses. And so you got to make sure when you know this, when they put it out there, the $806 billion of shares have been bought back by the corporations, not opening up more facilities in America to hire more Americans, not ramping up production in America so that the GDP can rise. Okay, because remember, the report card of a country is this gross domestic product, it's GDP. Okay, and with the Trump tax cut, the GDP and the wage and salaries trend line has been stagnant. With a tax cut like that, you would think that GDP would rise due to the fact that corporations are investing more into America, investing more into companies, investing more into infrastructures here. That's going to put more people to work, right? See, that's the game. Save your money, pay yourself first. Start looking to these companies, start looking into the different sectors that's going to provide you an opportunity for financial freedom. And it starts with your financial literacy, family. Okay? It's not an accident, that anytime something happens, the general public is the one that's always caught with that bill. All right? Yep. Well, no, you can't be seen as a person by a corporation. You just, you're a number. And see, that's the thing. I mean, have any information about the straw man situation, about, your social security number and what is actually attached to, then once you know that knowledge, you'll be like me. You'll be like, oh, okay, I see the game. Okay. United States Corporation, you have to know that your identity is a number. It's not an accident when bill collectors call you, they don't want your name. What's your last 4 digits of your social? Okay, we don't want to know nothing else. We can find you now. Okay, with those 9 digits. All right, and then the birth certificate. Your birth certificate is a bond. You dig? And so we've been caught up in this game since 1933. But those who can understand this stuff and be diligent with it, you can put yourself in a pretty good situation financially. Okay, and like I say, it's if you don't invest, you're gonna be like the rest, and you'll be a part of that 40% that can't afford a $400 emergency, or 78% of Americans don't have $1,000 in the savings. Okay, because remember, mostly over here we're consumers, and so more money they get, the more money they spend. But when the corporations know that, you would think they would still have some sympathy and empathy for the workers and for the people over here. Because remember, when they get these tax breaks and when they get bailed out, it's your energy that's bailing them out. And they're not giving you nothing in return, so you might as well get a piece of the pie. Okay? And how do you get a piece of the pie? By learning this stuff, financial literacy, paying yourself first, understanding the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, understanding what those 3 numbers mean. Okay, and looking into what market capitalization is, and what's market capitalization? That's just basically how much a company's worth. And the only real company be really a market cap that's like a mega cap company or a large cap company is they have a lot of shareholders investing in those companies. Okay, and these fly-by-night companies, don't just listen to everybody. You take that responsibility yourself. You do the research. You gambling if you just don't listen to somebody else. I mean, I don't never do recommendations. I just put information out there, food for thought, and then you go out there and do your own research and then see how it goes. But I can't tell you it's going to go well if you put the diligent research in. Okay, because it's all transparent information. It's all transparent. You can go to SEC.gov. You can get all these companies' quarterly reports, balance sheets, financial statements, P&L statements. You can get all of that stuff. You can make good decisions. You can find out the earnings report. Have they been earning for the last 5 years? Have they earned the last 5 years? Or down? Where have their dividends been in the last 10 years? Okay. Not NBA stats, not NFL stats. Okay. Not worrying about a guy's field goal percentage. That's not going to help you. And when you listen to the radio, try going to 9:50 a.m. or 7:40 a.m. and not just 6:10 or 6:50 or 7:90. I've been there, done that, fam. That's the only reason I know. That's the only reason I'm speaking on it. Okay? But that's all I want to talk about tonight, family. Who did that Trump tax cut help? The corporations. Okay? Now remember, I'm not one that's hating on rich people, on wealthy people, and saying that they rich, they need to pay more taxes. No, that's not true. Because they pay more taxes than low income people. So let's disavow that notion right there that, we need to tax rich people more. No, that's not how they're supposed to go. Believe me, there's a lot of rich people in America, but a lot of those rich people ain't nowhere near that 10% that's over 7% of the income, or they're nowhere near that 1% that's over 90% of the wealth in America. No, they pay their share, they pay their fair share of taxes. We're not talking about that. We're talking about ways that if corporations are going to be granted tax cuts, then don't just talk about it. You should make sure that these guys are, you're saying make America great again. Hey man, you gotta put your money where your mouth is. But like I say, I know what time it is because I know the game. Okay, Trump is a businessman. He's gonna look out for the business people, right? And if you're a shareholder, you're a business person. If you're an investor, you're a business person. Okay, if you're thinking right now improving your credit, okay, to what one day, when this market does crash and you have done your research and you see that, man, all I need right now is the capital to make this great investment. Well, you better go get your loan. That's good debt. Okay. And guess what? That loan you're going to get is a loan that's going to buy you shares of stock in a company that as a value investor is going to grow. Okay. And then you start looking into those other retirement opportunities. And for those around my age, okay, and even a little younger, you start thinking about your retirement savings and whatnot, because remember, there's a lot of people not right where they want to be. But it's not too late. It's never too late. But it's always the opportunity to look into different instruments of investment. I speak on the stock market and investing into companies, whatnot, where you can get capital gains, dividends. Yes, value companies. Yes, but not just that. Okay, these same companies that are on the stock market, you also can take advantage of gaining wealth from annuities, from index funds. Okay, from other insurance companies, and like I say, Fidelity Investments, Charles Schwab. A lot of these companies have these different instruments. Okay, and like I said, for entertainment purposes only, family. But this is just a wealth of information out there. Okay, and so don't let your energy just cause you to work 80% of your life and then you don't have anything to show for it. Because remember, you look at your chronology of your life from 0 to 20. You're pretty much taken care of. But that's that little half right there, that little quarter right there. But then that big old piece in the middle is what we use it to work. That's normally our employment years. Okay, from that 25 to 65. Okay, and then from 65, those who can make it to 65, you want to make sure those last years your lifestyle is a good lifestyle. Your quality of life is a good quality of life. Because remember, from 65 to 75, 85, you want to make sure that it's tight. You want to make sure you have income that you outlive, that you can outlive, rather. And how do you do that? With annuities, with different type of instruments we're gonna get into. But I just wanted to kind of briefly hit on that, family, and briefly, like I say, go back to the point of, if your GDP in a country isn't booming, but you said you look at your stock market and your stock market is booming, your real estate market is booming, everything is booming, but your GDP isn't, then that's false flags. Okay, that's what Trump called a bubble, which eventually is going to bust. And so just make sure you get yourself in a good situation, family. There you go, twin. I see you, Mr. Go-To. And like I say, man, I'm at the crib now, and I'm about to download that information, man, so I can get myself tight. Mr. Go-To, that's my partner right there, man. That's gonna hook me up on my technology, guys. I'm old school, so I don't really have all the information. So y'all make sure y'all go to my man, Mr. Go-To. Yeah, we gotta get that third eye open, baby. That's right, Khadija. You gotta pay yourself first. You gotta pay yourself first. LB, what's up? All right. Well, I tell you what, family, like I said, I had about 24, 25 minutes of wind. Got to get out this garden and go download my information, man, so I can make it better for you guys on my next couple of lives, okay? Well, in the meantime, between time, family, may the Most High Side to bring the joy and being with us out of 5,000.